Hello ladies and gentlemen, our lesson for today is going to be on Arduino. I hope you've heard of Arduino. If you've not heard, don't worry. Arduino basically is an open source program. It's used in designing of our projects, for our home devices, for companies, from giant to basic projects you actually know. With Arduino, we can actually design different kind of projects. Actually, with Arduino, it depends on your mind. It depends on your brain capability. As long as you can think to write a clear code, according to the rules and the inscriptions of Arduino, then your Arduino is not going to deceive you. Now, let's come to business. Arduino, as other codes, actually has its own IDE. Right now, we are going to speak about blinking of a LED using Arduino. I hope you know a LED. It means light emitting diode. A light emitting diode actually has an anode and a cathode. Don't worry, what is anode and cathode? I'm actually talking of the negative and the positive side of electronic devices, okay? Now, in our Arduino IDE actually, we have our void. Now it is blinking. Let me write it this way, blinking of a LED of a LED. Now in our Arduino, we actually have our void loop, void setup, as the beginning. Is a must in all our Arduino, and we also have, let me close it, okay? I've closed it. Now we have our void loop. Let me open it and close it. Actually, in programs, you have to open and close it always for it to function. Without opening and closing, it, if you open and you don't close it, actually it will not work. Now we have our void setup. I'm going to comment it too. Now here's it. This actually initializes and run once. It runs once. What do I mean like it runs once? This actually means our void setup only works once and we reset it back again. It runs only once when resetted or when operated. Now, in a blinking of a LED, we have our pin mode. We have our mode. Now, this pin mode, we can write the pin we want to print out. Now we have in a digital we have 11, 12 and 13. Now let's start with pin 11. We have 11. Now we write it as an output. That actually means we want it to blink out. In a digital we use output actually. This actually means we initialize pin 11 as an output. Initialize it as an output. Initialize pin 11 as an output. Meaning is going to be the LED that is going to blink. Now we can also add pin 12, pin 13. It depends on what we want, but for now let's only blink one LED, which is LED 11 as an output. We're going to blink it out. Now it's been closed. We can write as many as we want, but let's use only one because this is our beginning. Now we have our void loop. When we come to the void loop, because we are using a digital, when we write output, we write digital write. This digital write actually means it should release something. It should tell us something. It should release something. Now, what do we mean by digital write here? Now we have our 11. our 11 pin, our LED. Now we write it as high. When we write high, this high actually means this high, okay, this high here actually means, the high here actually means it is the same thing as on. It means we are owning it. We are owning our LED 11. It means we are owning our LED 11. Now we write a delay, our delay, and open our bracket. If we write 1000, that means 1 second. We have what we call the millis. Now 1000 is equal to 1 second in our Arduino. Now when we write 1000, it actually means it blinks per second. In a second it blinks, then it offs. Now we have our delay second. Now we write digital write, digital write, digital write, okay. Now the same pin 11. Now when we write low, this low here actually means off. It's the same thing as off. In our switch we have on and off. Now when we write digital write, that means our Arduino is actually going to know, our IDE, Arduino IDE is actually going to know we are saying it should off. It should off it. After it ons it, then it offs it. It ons it in a second and it offs it. Now this delay, it means turns LED. It turns LED turns for a second. It turns on for a second. Now digital write 11, we have our low and our off. Now we also write digital, we write our delay, delay. If we want it to also be 1000, like a per second, it ons in a second and offs in a second, then we also write 1000 here. It means LED turns off for a second. And here we have closed it. Basically, with this, when we operate, we will see that our LED is actually blinking on and off. It blinks on and off per second. Here we can change it to 2000. When we write 2000, that actually means we want it to be in a 2 second. When we write something like 500, that means half of a second. When we write here 250, that actually means quarter of a second. It depends on the level, the amount of time we want. You can write 10,000. You can write as long as you want. Thank you very much for listening to this lesson. My name is Shiraz.